While working on my Rivals of Aether 2 video, a new update for Deadlock dropped, and it changes everything that I knew about the story about the game. When it comes down to it, Deadlock has very simple stories, usually being very blunt with how the characters are, or having their stories told through the characters' dialogue. This new character, however, well, the newer characters, I should say, have reinforced a theory I had about the last 6 characters that were added. Each character has a duo theme. Victor and Paige are missing parts of themselves, Paige missing parts of her mind, and Victor not knowing his true identity and missing parts of himself. Then you have Drifter and Mina. Drifter being the lowest of vampire society, even though living his best life, and Mina technically being a part of the highest parts of vampire society, but living quite low in terms of hierarchical standing. Then the newer characters reinforce this too. Rem and Silver are the outcasts. Graves and Apollo are the students. And Celeste and Venator are the working people. So then it brings me to this question. What was the connection between Doorman and Billy? And I think I have the answer. I don't think it's too hard to say that Doorman is a patron. That has been accepted, and I think we can all agree upon it. It is very clear, though, with the recent update that Doorman isn't just any patron. He is the apprentice patron to the Archmother. Since he is the apprentice patron, then what is Billy? Because Billy doesn't match up with the traditional sense of the two being alike. However, I think there's enough evidence to suggest that Billy is also secretly a patron. And here's why. We don't really know much about Billy on how he came around to New York. We know that he's a problem causer, and we know that he is an activist that just says his mind. He'll always find something to complain about. And his rage is considered boundless by the patrons.
Let your rage spill forth.
However, he has one trait about him that makes him more unique than all the other characters and makes him more in line with Doorman. His eyes. He has glowing eyes, specifically orange, while Doorman's are blue. Now you might be like, glowing eyes, EJ, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, I think this plays into something else. When we look at the Hidden King, his entire color scheme is oranges and browns. When we look at the All-Mother, her entire color scheme is blues and whites. When we look at Doorman, his eyes glow bright blue. Billy's bright orange. They are also the only 2 characters with glowing eyes in the game. Another thing we can pull from that Billy shares with the Hidden King is the symbols on his jacket match the very same symbols on the generators that keep the Hidden King safe, showing that Billy doesn't just share connections in terms of looks, but also in signets. If we're going off of the 2's idea that each character has a counterpart when they've been released, that would mean Billy and Doorman have to have something in common. And this would also make sense on how they're foils to one another. If Billy is the apprentice to the Hidden King, that would mean that it would make a lot of sense, since Billy relies on melee and gun damage, while the Doorman relies more on spirit damage, showing the very big difference between the two. Doorman is calm and reserved, while Billy is rambunctious and loud. It also helps to look at the base designs. People have pointed out multiple times that the base guardians for the All-Mother, or Archmother, have keys on their hands, and a lot of key symbolism, just like the Doorman. However, no one has pointed out how the Hidden King has a lot of punk aesthetics. All these punk aesthetics are very similar to Billy's punk vibe, and general punk attitude. It also doesn't help that the Archmother is very clean and refined with her gowns and clothing, just like the Doorman. while the Hidden King is very wild-like, having antlers and general drapings that make him look indistinguishable and rather messy, just like Billy. It would also make sense that Billy got his animal head from the Hidden King. After all, no one knows how Billy got his head, and if this would make a lot more sense, because in dialogue between Wraith and Billy, Billy clarifies that he allowed this to happen to himself, that he wanted this goat head, that he chose this fate.
I really appreciate that whatever bet you lost to have that be the case, you are man enough to follow through with the consequences.
You think I look like this because I lost a bet?
If you didn't, you're even dumber than I thought.
Go to hell.
Which brings up an even bigger question. Who is Billy? Billy may have his name, but I think there's another bigger theory here that might connect Billy with even more characters than just the Doorman and the Hidden King. No, I think that Billy is also Paige's long-lost brother. After all, Paige's brother was described as being rebellious and left the household after disappointing the family. After all, Paige can't really exactly recognize Billy, and Billy probably doesn't care much for Paige and refuses to acknowledge her in the dialogues that they have together. And while yes, Paige's brother is known as Bryce, I wouldn't be surprised if Bryce changed his name to Billy before getting this blessing to try and separate himself from his family. I think Billy eventually found the Hidden King, gave up part of his humanity, that being his reasoning, to become the next patron, the next successor to the Hidden King, just as Doorman is the next successor to the Archmother. The implications of this imply that the patrons don't live forever, and actually might imply that the patrons have their own priorities, their own goals, which pushes along an even bigger question. If the patrons have lifespans, if the patrons have successors, are they really here to help humanity and push them forward, and might actually make Warden and Venator's goals more reasonable than we originally thought? Anyways, that's my quick little theory video, and I want to see what y'all's thoughts are. And be on the lookout for a Rivals of Aether 2 video soon, and hopefully after that, a Deadlock video.